Okay, so this is literally hot off the presses. Forbes magazine just named Louisville, Kentucky as one of the top relocation cities in the entire United States. Hi, my name is Joan Pauly, and I founded Joan Pauly Real Estate here in Louisville, Kentucky to help buyers like yourself or people that want to sell their home get into the home of their dreams and find the right financial fit. So I help people buy, list, or build their home. I've got a great passion for helping people that are relocating here to Louisville. I'm a transplant myself, and so I enjoy introducing a city that is, I call my adopted city. So whether you want to buy, sell, buy something else, build, relocate, you're a first-time home buyer, or you're a many-time home buyer, I would really enjoy going along on that journey with you, because it is a journey, and it's always a privilege when I'm allowed to be part of that journey. This video is going to cover the top 5 reasons. I mean, there's so many reasons, but I narrowed it down to 5 broad reasons why you should consider moving to Louisville, Kentucky. And I'm going to read this because, like I mentioned, we were named one of the top cities to relocate to by Forbes magazine. So I want to tell you what they rated us on. It says the experts analyzed data across the top 50 most populated city using 12 different metrics across 4 categories: value, quality of life, job market, and desirability. So Louisville actually made the top 10. We were number 7 on that list. And be sure to stay till the end, because I found this super cool tool that you can use. So if you're moving here from anywhere in the United States, based on the salary that you have, what salary would you have to earn if you lived here to maintain the same standard of living? And it just might surprise you. So with that, let's get started. Now we're going to talk about the economy in Louisville and the job market and who actually is based here. So some of the major employers are UPS Air. Their air operations are headquartered here. Ford Motor Company and the truck plant, the Louisville assembly plant, GE Appliances, Humana, Norton Healthcare, U of L Health, Yum Brands, which is made up of Kentucky Fried Chicken or KFC, Pizza Hut and Taco Bell, Brown-Forman, which makes those lovely bourbons, which just a side note on that, I went to a bourbon tour the other day, and the guide said that we have more bourbon barrels curing in warehouses in Kentucky than we have people. And I thought, that's interesting. We've also got Kindred Healthcare. The Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Louisville is also a huge employer. Louisville Gas and Electric and Kentucky Utilities, both of them are major employers. We have a diverse economy, which is great. So we've got healthcare, we've got manufacturing, we've got logistics. The other really big part of Louisville that's really an important part of Louisville for a lot of us is the buy local programs that they have here. Louisville's definitely started in the restaurant industry to buy local foods, support local restaurants, and it's just exploded. So there's a tremendous amount of entrepreneurship here, and the city of Louisville really supports that. It's diverse. It's not dependent on that one specific type of industry, and that has weathered Louisville very well with the ups and downs of the economy over the many years. One industry has made, just since 2022, has made a huge investment in Kentucky, and that's the EV battery production facilities. They have invested $9 billion in their facilities throughout Kentucky, and as the governor says, that makes us the EV capital of the United States, and it should bring in, he predicts, about 7,400 jobs. That's an exciting development to be part of a more clean energy future here in Kentucky. So that's huge. Second up on the list is we are a foodie town, and quite literally the birth of Bourbonism. So let me tell you a story about us being a foodie town. I actually was out in Portland, Oregon, which is also known as a really local foodie town. And our server asked where we were from, and we said, Louisville, Kentucky. Have you heard of it? And she said, not only have I heard of it, but I'm moving there. We were like, wait a minute, Portland, Oregon is cool, hip. You're moving to Louisville. And she said, yeah, I did a Google search, the top foodie towns in the United States, and Louisville, Kentucky came up. She said she looked at affordability, and she thought Portland is definitely not affordable any longer for her. So she moved to Louisville. If that's not testament, I don't know what. I personally can testify because I love to eat out, and the local scene here is fantastic. And like I said, I'm originally from Atlanta. We've elevated eating out here to a sport, and I tease people from Louisville because we don't have professional sports teams. We really support our college, university teams, and our high school teams. In lieu of having a professional sports team, I think eating out is our sports. You've just got to come and try it, and come see why the leisure and travel magazines have rated Louisville top for the local food scene for decades, for years. One interesting fact about Louisville that has helped it move into a local purveyor of farm to table type of establishments is a while back when the tobacco settlement money came through, we had a lot of tobacco farmers. And so part of the settlement was to help our Kentucky farmers retool their land from tobacco to produce. This created an amazing something called CSA, communities, I forget, but it's a farmer's market that you can buy into and get certain shares. And it's also helped our local scene flourish. The first real restaurant that I became acquainted with, this was probably 15 years ago, the Mayan Cafe and Chef Bruce, they were one of the first to actually completely retool how he did his menu, how he still does his menu, where he gets with his local farmers and plans his menu according to the seasons, according to what they think their yields are going to be. So it is just a real close, deep collaboration between the chef and the local farmers here. And so I give him credit because he was one of the first, and the food is absolutely delicious. The lima beans are to die for. But he's just one of many, many, many restaurants and places here in Louisville where you can really casually enjoy yourself and get some really, really good local foods. The other huge part is Bourbonism. Now, you can do something called the Urban Bourbon Trail, which means that we have distilleries that have operations right in downtown Louisville. So you don't have to leave the city to go get a tour and see operations being done. I've done several of them here. They're fantastic. I've also done the Bourbon Trail. That's just outside of Louisville. That's also very fun. But you don't have to leave the city. You can enjoy your bourbon tours here. There are tons of restaurants that have bourbon and food pairing. We definitely celebrate eating and enjoying our fine Kentucky bourbon. So another big important consideration when you're thinking about moving someplace is it a vibrant community? Does it feel like you could connect? Are there things to connect and do here? And there's a ton. So we have the normal touristy type stuff. So of course we have Churchill Downs, which is where the Kentucky Derby is run. Kentucky Derby is always the first Saturday in May. But you might not know that the day before that Friday, is something called the Oaks. And that's the running of the fillies. So it's the Derby for the fillies. So that the Oaks used to be really kind of the locals owned that, and you didn't see that many private jets at the airport or the Millionaires Row folks coming in until probably that night. So they would miss all of the Oaks running that starts pretty much mid-morning and runs all the way through the evening. But that became another coveted ticket. So now the locals have something called Thurby. So we all come out decked out in our hats and get to enjoy the track, the festivities, the feeling, the engagement. Like I've said before, there's no place on the planet like Louisville, Kentucky at Derby time. It's probably the most fun place I've ever been. And it here in Louisville for the locals, it lasts almost a month. We kick it off with a Thunder Over Louisville that happens usually the third Saturday in April, and that's the kickoff for the festival. And then we pretty much party between then and the first Saturday in May, and then of course that Sunday you have to get up and have brunch and some mimosas, and then everybody flies off or drives off. That's probably the biggest tourist attraction here, but they do have fall and spring meets. Very low key and very easy, very accessible, very easy to park. And it's a relatively, if you don't, depending on how much cash you want to drop on betting on horses, it can be a very inexpensive, fun, pleasurable day where you can sit outside, watch the horses, or you can go back in shelter depending on the weather. There's also something called the backside tours. So that's where the real Kentucky Derby really happens. I mean, there's the front side where everybody's dressed up with hats and all that, but if you're a real horse person, you're going to want to do the backside. And that's where you see where everybody works, the jockeys, the trainers. That's the hub of activity there. So of course we've got the Kentucky Derby. The other one is the Louisville Slugger. The Bat Museum here, it's located in downtown. Then just across from that is our Muhammad Ali Museum. Muhammad Ali was born here in Louisville. And then across from that is the Science Museum, the Children's Science Museum, which I'm a member of because I've got grandkids and they absolutely love it. They always have new installations there that are fresh for the kids to engage in. So those are some of the areas downtown. We do have a little up from those core tourist areas is something called the Yum Center, which is where we have, we play Louisville basketball games there, but we also have a ton of artists come in from all over the world to perform there. Yes, Taylor Swift even made it to Louisville, so we're on the map. That's a lot of the tourist things. The other part of Louisville that I consider incredibly a vibrant part of Louisville is the connection to outdoor space. We're so lucky. We're actually known not only as a network of neighborhoods, but surrounding downtown Louisville is they call it the necklace of parks. That necklace was designed by Olmsted, who was the father of landscape architecture and who designed the Central Park system in New York. So we have grand boulevards, massive trees, all interspersed all throughout Louisville and Jefferson County. There's just great amenities there. I mean, there's walking trails, there's bike paths in the parks, but also there is something called the Louisville Loop, which is a 100-mile bike route through the park systems all around Louisville. They haven't gotten it 100% done, but they are well on their way. I've ridden parts of it, and it's just fabulous. You don't have to worry about cars. You go off a busy road, you take your bikes, go off the busy road, and you're in the city and you're in the middle of nature. It's just phenomenal. The other huge amenity that we have is something called the waterfront park system. So in keeping with the tradition of the Olmsted parks, we have a massive amount of, they call it the Great Lawn, and it expands for miles in front of the city. It buffers the city and the Ohio River. So there's tremendous amount of just free play that you can go down there. You can go down there and throw your frisbee, you can go walk, you can ride your bike, you can walk your dog. In addition to that great lawn, we have something called the pedestrian bridge. This is super cool. You can park for free, and down at that parking place they have spray parks for kids, swing sets, all that. But you can walk up, and it's just about a mile over. You walk over the Ohio River, and then you land in Indiana, in a quaint little town over there, and they have the cutest coffee shops and restaurants, local owned restaurants, shops, bars. I mean, it's a ton of fun. And then you can walk back, get in your car, and go home. So on a pretty day, I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. You get a little bit of walking in, a little bit of eating and drinking in, and you get to see this beautiful views of the city from the Big Four Bridge. Louisville has made a conscious decision, and they've put their policies and their money behind the continuation of what Olmsted started so many years ago in terms of the connection between nature and our city suburban areas. Reason number 4, Geographic Gold. Now, what do I mean by that? As you can see from the map, Louisville is located in an area that borders a ton of states. So to the south, we've got Nashville and Tennessee. We've got to the east, Virginia and West Virginia. Then to the northeast, we've got Ohio, a stone's throw across the Ohio River. We've got Indiana. Then we've got a little bit of Illinois and a little bit of Missouri. So this is really the reason why so many transportation and logistics businesses locate here, because they can get to a majority of the U.S. population within a day's drive. That might be an advantage to you, depending on what your lifestyle is. If you have family that's kind of spread out but more contained on the East Coast, then perhaps that's an advantage for you. If you're getting ready to retire or retired and you want to move to a cost of living place that's lower than the national average, which we'll get to in item number 5, then make Louisville your home base, fire up the RV, the motorcycle, the whatever, and hit the road. From a personal perspective, I think our Geographic Gold has a lot to offer. And with that, in terms of travel, here's a map of the places that our Louisville Airport goes to directly, the direct flights. It's called Louisville International Airport because of UPS. They fly internationally. Unfortunately, we don't have any direct international flights. What I've done, what a lot of people do, is Cincinnati is just an hour and a half up the road. So a lot of people will drive to Cincinnati, leave their car there, and then hit whatever international connection they're trying to make. So it's not terrible. The upside to it is Louisville's airport is incredibly easy to get in and out of. I mean, a piece of cake compared to a lot of places that I've flown out of. In terms of our regional Geographic Gold, it works for us from a business and an economy standpoint, and maybe it just might fit your lifestyle as well. Now what I want to do is show you this map that is called Kentuckiana. Because we're so close to Indiana, just right across the river from us, the Ohio River, this area really is called Kentuckiana. As you can see on the right-hand side are the Kentucky counties. Jefferson County is primarily the areas that I'm going to be talking about in terms of statistics and giving you some neighborhood tours initially, and then we'll spread out and we'll go to other places, certainly. Louisville, Jefferson County, the city of Louisville and the county merged, and so it's considered Metro Louisville now. Right across the river are the counties of Clark, Floyd, Harrison, Washington, and Crawford. So between the two states, we're called Kentuckiana, and I just wanted to give you this brief overview so that you can understand this particular aspect of where you live geographically. You know, we could also, if you're interested in looking at properties over across the river, we can certainly do that as well. And last but definitely not least is we're going to dial into the metro Jefferson County, Louisville area, so you can see the major transit areas and kind of how the city is laid out. So if you start with downtown, you can see that it's the ring around downtown is called the Watterson 264. And it used to be that you wanted to live inside 264 in terms of convenience. But sprawl being what sprawl is, and Louisville is no different than other towns that have sprawled out like a fried egg. Now, if you live inside the Gene Snyder, which is 265, that's also considered convenient. And it is, because I live like a stone's throw from 265, and I can get pretty much anywhere I want to get in Louisville, downtown, other areas within 25 to 30 minutes on a pretty standard basis. Again, you've got Watterson circling the city, and you've also got 265 Gene Snyder circling the city. And then you have 64 that comes down and goes out towards the eastern part of the state. You have 71 that goes up towards Cincinnati. And then you have 64 to the west, and that heads over to St. Louis, Missouri area. And then you can't tell that it's marked, but running right through downtown, going down south and north is 65. So those are the main thoroughfares throughout. If you can see on here, we have so many neighborhood names, and each one has its own flavor, its own flair. And I'm going to be walking you through those different neighborhoods so that you can get the flavor and the flair of what each neighborhood has to offer and the amenities, and give you some price points on what you can expect to spend for those homes. So you can see on here we've got Portland, Shawnee to the west part of downtown. Portland's got it. I just can't help myself. I have to give you a little bit of history. Louisville, the city of Louisville was founded really because we have something called the Falls of the Ohio River. And the falls, back before they had a lock and dam system, the barges would come down from, the northern parts of where the Ohio River stretches into. And you had to have people that would unload the barges, take the goods down below the falls, and then reload it onto another barge so it could go on its merry way. So that's how Portland got its name. It was a port, and it was on land, and it's still there today. It's mostly the cute shotgun style houses. So like I said, every single place has its history, its uniqueness, its own value in terms of pricing for houses. We'll go all over the place. Germantown, that's a cool place. Clifton Heights, there's just so much to cover just right now, but I wanted to give you at least an overview of the map of downtown and the main arteries that are running through there, so you can orient yourself. And so while we're here, I'll give you some stats in Jefferson County for homes. As of, the most current local market update I have runs through February of 2024. So the median sales price for Jefferson County right now is $246,250 for a single family home. And for townhomes, the median price is $215,000. Now, remember that's median sales price. So we have a whole lot of very, very low and very, very high. So that's why I want to do these different neighborhood walks and acquaint you with those areas, because the the average price point is going to vary wildly depending on what neighborhood that you're in. But hopefully that gives you an overview from a regional perspective and how you can take advantage of that. Understanding when they say Kentuckiana, if you hear that, you'll understand what that means. And then the artery system and the neighborhood system in and around Louisville, Jefferson County. Okay, I have saved the best for last, which is how much does it cost to live here? If I'm thinking about uprooting myself or uprooting my family, what can I expect? Well, I have really good news for you, and I'm gonna peek over here so I don't give you the wrong stats. Overall, from the national average, Louisville, Kentucky, the cost of living in Louisville, Kentucky is 4% below the national average. Now, this is gonna rock your world. In terms of housing, it's 21% below the national average. Utilities is more, it's a +5. I'm not really sure why our utilities are more expensive than the national average. I do know we're fundamentally have been a coal state, so I don't know if it's that the utilities are having to play catch up and build infrastructure that embraces more of the renewables for energy. I'm not sure, but we're 5% higher on utilities. Groceries, we're 6% below the national average. So housing, wow, 21%, and food, 6%. Now transportation, we're 13% more than other parts of the country. And that's, I suspect that's primarily because we don't have a public transit system. They're flat out just don't have it. I mean, we've got public buses, but other than that, you're on your own with cars. Okay, so here we are at this nifty little tool. Now, maybe a lot of you knew about it, but I didn't know anything about it. It's payscale.com. Here, let's go in here and let's put in Louisville, Kentucky, and let's search. Okay. Cost of living. Let's look at Louisville. All right, so Louisville is 4% lower than the national average, 21% lower in housing, 5% more in utilities, and 6% less in groceries. So let's say if I'm moving to Louisville from, let's pick a city. Oh, let's say New York. New York. Wow. So if you made $50,000 in New York, when you moved here, you only have to make $20,000 to maintain current standard of living. So the cost of living in Louisville is 58% lower, and housing is 84% lower. So I just wanted to show you this tool so you can kind of play around with it. You can put in any city, of course, that you're moving from or moving to. So hope you enjoy it.